Hey everyone, my name is David and I am the teacher, blogger, music teacher who blogs at makemomentsmatter.org. You might have also seen my writing or things around in other places on the internet, or you might have seen stuff of mine on Pinterest or Facebook. If nothing else, you've seen me on Facebook because that's why you're here. But I also do things on Instagram, and I very recently started a podcast, which you can find in the iTunes store or on a lot of other podcast places. Just search "Make Moments Matter" a music education podcast or something like that, and it should pop up. I've done a couple episodes in there, so if you like ideas like this, you can find them there. Well, today I'm here to talk about my most recent concert called Space Invaders. And I've done this concert now twice. I've done it at this school, the school I'm currently teaching at. And I also did it once when I taught in Kansas City. Both times it's been a really, really fun concert. The kids love it. I love that they love it. I love that I have tricked them into loving it. And so I wanted to share just the songs that are involved and the process of how I did it. Because I did write my own script and sort of pulled this one together, and I know that intimidates a lot of people, so I just wanted to share how I did that and what was involved, so that if you want to do something like that, you wouldn't be intimidated. I'm going to talk about the story behind the concert, the music, the costumes, and the extras. If you have any questions along the way, just pop them in the comments, and I'll try and answer them either as we're going or at the end. So, my concert was called Space Invaders. And I'll tell you, the concert was not actually about space. This is my favorite thing about this concert. So the concert itself is actually sort of a citizenship concert. It teaches kids how to get along, how to be nice with one another, how to encourage one another, things like that. All schools need that. My school needed that when I first came up with the concept for this concert. We needed that reinforcement in our school, but I just sort of feel like a lot of those citizenship concerts can be just a little boring sometimes. I personally feel that. And so I wanted something to spice it up. So I thought, how can I do that? I'm going to somehow make it about aliens. And so what I did was I took some songs that I really liked that were citizenship songs, and I wrote a script that incorporated aliens landing on our playground. And the aliens were really mean, and we had to teach them how to be nice. The kids didn't realize that the whole thing was just about how to teach people to be nice and how to care for one another. They thought, oh, we're teaching the aliens. It's about the aliens. It's not about the aliens. It's just about getting along. So one of the things I did when I was writing the script was I set it at our school. So the location of the concert and the location of the story all happens at our school, which makes it a lot more personal. If you wanted to do something like this, you can shoot me an email at makemomentsmatter@gmail.com, and I'll send you my script. And you can just change the words from Raleigh Elementary to whatever elementary school you're at. And it would work probably just as well. So that's sort of the premise, that these aliens have landed on our playground, and we need to teach them how to be nice because they're not. And I'll tell you a little bit about that more later. But if you're writing a script, I know some people are really intimidated by that. I'm not. I like doing this sort of thing. I've done drama for a long time. So for me, my tips for writing a script, if you have these great songs you love, you know how you're going to string them together, but you're not quite sure what you'd put in the script, I would say you want to tell info. So if you're doing a little scene before a song, you want to preview the song, why is this next song important? How does it link in? So you give a little bit of information about that. You also want to advance the plot. If there's a plot, I mean, in my case, each song was a succession. It sort of continued the story of well, you're being nice about this. How do you show being nice? Well, here's how. And how, why does that affect people? Well, here's how. And so each thing sort of built on one another, and I explained that sort of in the script as we went. It's great to add jokes. I, in fact, had a running joke about how the kids would tell the aliens things, and the aliens are like, I don't think I get it. And the kids are like, well, don't worry. We've got a song about that. After about the fourth time where the kids were like, hey, guess what? We've got a great song about that. The very next scene, the alien's like, I'm not sure I understand, but something tells me you're going to sing at me about it. And then they walked off and the kid's like, yes, we are. It was really fun. So adding in some little jokes like that keeps it a little bit lighter. So that's great. And then I also thought about the audience. I thought about parents in those seats. Like, what can I do to sort of show off kids and give them a good time, but also make it sort of light and still explain things. The other great thing about when you write your own script is you decide how many parts you want. If there's a kid or a class where you want to have 8 parts and the next class you want to have 2 parts, well, you're the one writing the script, so you sort of get to decide. If you have a real star kid, you want them to have a really fun part, well, you get to choose that, which is great. I have never had to teach at a school where the principal says everybody has a part. Thank God. I don't believe in that. And there are reasons for that. There's some kids who just don't want to do it. And then, I taught for my first 4 years at a school where there were English language learners, and to force a child to do a line on a microphone in front of 400 people could be really terrible for any kid, but especially for a kid who's learning a language. That's really rough. So I've never had to teach at a school like that. Writing my own script has been nice because then I can sort of choose how many kids I want to be involved. If I had to include every kid, I could make that happen. It'd be a pain, but it's something that's nice to be able to do when you have a script. The other thing I'll say about the script is the way I do it is that I had 4 homerooms in this grade level involved in this concert. And so in between each song, I had a different homeroom come down. So there are aliens throughout the whole show, but there are only 4 aliens total in each scene. And so there are only 4 alien costumes. And instead of having to make like all these costumes, I made 4. And then knowing there are 4 in each little scene, they would switch out each time. That meant that more kids got to be aliens, more kids got to have speaking parts when I switched out by homeroom. But it also meant that, you got to spread the love around, and then the kids who wanted like that one line, well, they're not involved in the whole show, but in their little scene, they get their line. So that's sort of nice to be able to do that. So I do that with all of my shows. I sort of switch them out as I go. And I give each little homeroom a scene in between songs. It's also nice because then you could say, all right, Mrs. Trufant's class, you come after this song, and then they can remember that, and it's easy for them. Okay, enough about the story or the script. If you have questions, like I said, just put them in there. Or if you want a copy of my script just to see what I did, send me an email at makemomentsmatter@gmail.com. I'll send it to you. So the music, what music did I do? I pulled all this music sort of together from things that I already had, from resources I already had. When I student taught, my cooperating teacher did this canned musical. Canned musicals are fine. They're fine to do. Don't stress out. They're fine to do. Some people are so against them. It's okay. That's another video. So anyway, let's pass it on. It's really great. It's by Michael and Jill Gallina. I don't think that they're Spanish. I think it's Gallina. But it's basically a citizenship show. And I like several songs from the show. But there are some that maybe I don't love so much. So what I did was I took the songs I like. There's a song called Pass It On, which is about like basically paying it forward. You do something nice, they'll do something nice for someone else. That person will do someone nice. That was it was actually great musically. It was easy to break up for 4 different classes. And so I put that as a closer in my show. Awesome little song. There's another song called High Five Hand Jive from this musical where the kids, in the script, the alien's like, that was a great song, and punches a kid in the arm. And they're like, what are you doing? He's like, we're so impressed by your singing, and like stomps on another kid's foot. And the kids are like, what are you doing? He's like, on our planet, when you do a great job, you get poked in the arm. And the kids from my school are like, that's not how we do things here. And they realize the aliens think that's okay, and we have to teach them it's not okay. And so high five hand jive is a way to show like high five, pat on the back, fist bump. Those are acceptable ways to show that someone's done a good job. Punching in the arm, not okay. So it's sort of a fun way to throw that in. But high five hand jive, I love that from this musical. It's fun, it's quick, there are a lot of great actions, a lot of great words to throw in. The next song in the musical, Smiling is My Style. That song's not really my style. So that I didn't want to take from the musical. Let My Love Be Your Umbrella. it wasn't going to jive with this concert, so I didn't do that. And there's one more, Don't Drop the Ball. It's really more of a sports song, so it didn't really fit in either. But the first two songs, Pass It On and High Five Hand Jive, I love. And I love that it came with an accompaniment CD. It's a great little compact couple songs. So I pulled those songs from the show and put them into my show. It's great if you have like older musicals, or you came to this building and you didn't order that, but there's that one song in there that you like. Well, pull it out and incorporate it into a show of your own. So then after that, I searched through the other books that we had here. I looked on Music K8 because Music K8 is a great resource. You can search through by theme. I went through and searched, I think I searched the keyword stars and the keyword aliens and then the keyword spaceship or alien invaders or whatever. I just searched lots of things to find what I really wanted. And then the other few songs I found on Music K8, which were great. And I'll tell you all the songs here in just a second. The last thing I wanted to incorporate was these kids, their first year of recorder. The teacher last year did a 30-minute concert of all recorder music. I can't do that. Like, it's not, it doesn't work for me. It's just too much recorder. So I wanted to incorporate some recorder, and I wanted it to be something that was on their level, that sounded good. This was their first year. That was on their level, that was fun, that they could do. The nice thing about writing my own show was that I could do anything with it and it would fit. So what I had in the script was something about an alien was like, what are those weird things hanging around your neck? Are they weapons? Is it an intergalactic key to an intergalactic portal? Or whatever. And they're like, no, these are recorders. Oh, and this is my favorite line. We make beautiful, beautiful music with these recorders. I was like sitting there in the front row. Like, I know all these parents are like, beautiful music. Really, Mr. Rao? But anyway, so they're like, oh, no, they're recorders. We'll show you how to use them, blah, blah, blah. So then the kids are like, we're going to choose songs that represent different parts of the world. So from another one of my favorite books, In the BAG by Janet Day. She has a couple really, really great books that I like using for recorder kids because they're pretty varied. You can get some good stuff for just kids who are just on BAG, which these kids currently are. And it has fun little recording tracks. It's great to throw in a concert. I did on one of my other concerts this year, too. There are two songs in here. One is called Ola BAG, which has sort of a Latin sort of a feel, which is cool. And the other one was called Saddle BAG, which was sort of a country sort of a sound to it. So I incorporated both of those and just had a kid say like, oh, these represent different areas of the world to give you a little taste of what that's like in other places since you've only visited Michigan or whatever. And then that fit right in. Kids played the songs, sounded really good. They were successful, fit in the concert, and we were pretty happy with it. So let me give you the rundown of the songs just so you know everything that I included because I sort of just talked about where they came from. The first song I did was a song from Music K8 called Life on Mars. And I have a really nice cache of Music K8 old old magazines and old CDs and things here. So searching for them online showed me like, oh, what volume, what issue, and then I could go pull them. So the songs that I did was a song called Life on Mars, which was the only song that was actually about space. That was a fun sort of introduction, and we used it as like, there's sort of an instrumental part, and we were like, oh, there's a spaceship, and we like made it land, basically. We had stage directions where it sort of landed. We did our school song, because they're like, where are we? What's this land? What do we do? You know, tell us about you. And so we did our school song, which sort of talks about the school and our values. We did the song from Pass It On called High Five Hand Jive, which taught about like how to acceptable touch and how to show people they've done a good job. We did a song called Gratitude Attitude. That's a Music K8 song. That was a super fun song because there's like a little chorus. Got a gratitude attitude. I've got a gratitude attitude. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then there's a part where you say like, what are you grateful for? And the kids get to come to the microphone and say what they're grateful for. So we did like a little class brainstorm session, and each class got to choose their like 4 things that they as a class were grateful for, and they would send up a representative to say it for them. Some of them were like, friends. Some of them were like, my dog. And then some of them were like, chicken strips. That poor girl who had to go to the mic was like, we're grateful for chicken strips. And the audience was like, that doesn't really fit in. But I mean, we had the talk in that brainstorm session about everyone's going to hear it. You know, these are the other things that are going with it, just so you know. And they're like, well, we really are grateful for chicken strips. They're really delicious. And like, I mean, they're food. Like, we need to be grateful for food. And I was like, okay, well, let's go for it. So Gratitude Attitude, that's a fun little song, repetitive. It's pretty quick to learn. Then I did the 2 songs, Saddle B.A.G. and Ola B.A.G. from In the B.A.G. by Janet Day. And then there was a song from Music K8 called The Things We Share. And that was like the tearjerker slow song where it talked about like the stars shine over you, the stars shine over me. And isn't it so crazy we focus on these things that separate us, but really we're so alike, which was super sweet. And then the last song was Pass It On from Let's Pass It On by Michael and Jill Galena. Gallina. I think it's Galena. So those are the songs. Let me tell you a little bit of, we talked about the story, we talked about the songs. Let me tell you a little bit about the costumes. I am not a costume person. I don't like costumes. I don't like worrying about costumes. I don't like stressing over that. And I know there's some people who are like, I love costumes. I love sets. Like, I don't. And so I try and stay as minimal as possible just because it saves lots of money and time and my brain stress. I go all out on other things, not on costumes. So because this was a show about aliens landing on our playground, it was very easy to say to students and parents, just wear a t-shirt that says our school name. There are a lot of them, a lot of different, there's like Team Raleigh, and we were named a Blue Ribbon School this year, so we have Blue Ribbon School shirts, and then we have, I was like, or do our district shirts, so some kids wore Viking stuff because our high school mascot is a Viking, or if you don't have any of that, just wear blue and yellow because those are our colors. So it was very easy to give kids a direction, and I learned that also when I was teaching in Kansas City. I was at a very low income school, and to say to some kids like, wear this very specific thing was hard for them because they didn't have the money to go buy a special costume, and maybe they didn't have that particular thing. So making it something that I knew that most people had, because first, well, this is a great example, but this year when we were awarded our blue ribbon for our elementary school, the PTA bought every kid a shirt that said Raleigh Elementary and Blue Ribbon School. So everyone had one of those, I knew. And a lot of people had the other stuff. So it gave them some variety. And for the kids' parents who were like, no, my kid is wearing a dress. Well, then saying like blue and yellow, you know, it gave them some choices. So I actually did that for my last show too. And it was a show about Michigan. We were doing folk songs from Michigan. I said, great, wear anything that says Michigan, that has a picture of Michigan, the shape of Michigan. If you want, you can wear Michigan State clothes, because we're in Lansing, which Michigan State is like a mile away. Or you could wear University of Michigan, or you could wear Detroit Lions, or you could wear the Red Wings. Anything that represents Michigan, wear that. And it was actually really cool to see sort of a mosaic of all these different things that fit in with that theme of Michigan. So for this show, I just said wear Raleigh stuff, wear Haslett stuff. That's our umbrella district. And then for the Space Invaders, this is my favorite part. I got this idea for these aliens when I went to a kids' craft fair a few years ago. Basically, what I saw at the craft fair was somebody took a paper bag, puffed it out, tightened a little hole in the bottom, and made it into a hat. So I made these for our students who are aliens, and it's really hilarious because they came up with these huge heads on, and really all I did was I took a paper bag and I spray painted it, and the kind of paint I got was called like lime green or key lime or something. I got it at Home Depot. It was like $4. It sprayed, I made 4 of these, so it sprayed those, and I didn't run out of paint. And then all I had to do was just like do this sort of thing to the bottom to roll it up. I added on some little antenna, which really love falling off because it's been a week or so since the concert. Pipe cleaners, very expensive. And then I just cut out eyes from construction paper and taped them on. And on the bottom, I had some old dying garland from Christmas, so I just wrapped it around so it didn't just look like rolled up paper, because if I didn't put it on, you'd just see that. So this is sort of nice to get to cover that up, and also adds a little element of fun. So this is what my aliens would scurry behind the risers, put it on, come out, say their lines, and then scurry back and pop off. It was quick to put on and off. I was a little worried about lice, but that was fine. And this was really fun. The audience thought it was a hoot. The one thing I would say about it is, if you're gonna do it, it's you're just gonna want to try and pop out the corners a little bit so it doesn't look quite so rigid and straight and like a paper bag. Because if you do puff it out right, you can make it so that it sort of bubbles. And it's sort of hard to see, but it'll bubble, and then it looks sort of more round. So if you pull in down here, that, first of all, it fits the kids' heads better, but also it looks more sort of like an alien. I don't know what that is, sorry. My speakers are just going nuts. Anyway, so here's our little alien. He was pretty easy. The other thing that I added, and again, I could have been way more creative. I could have said, like, found a cool coat and jazzed it up. I didn't have the time for that, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money. So I went and got like silver reflective plastic tablecloths from the Dollar Tree, and I cut them into a circle, put a hole on, and then they became little stoles. And so the kids would put these on first. It would cover up their Ralia shirt, and then they'd put on their little alien head, and then they would come out and do their spiel, and then they'd go back and take them off. And then they'd be kids again, which is great. So if you had some kids in one class who were aliens, they could go put on the alien costume, and then when they're done, they could go take it off, and then another kid could use it later. And then that kid who was an alien blends right back in, because they're supposed to be alien, or they're supposed to be Ralia students for the rest of the show. So it's easy to do that. And that I love that little hat. I think it's so much fun. In fact, I should just wear it for the rest of this time. Actually, I'm not, because if I wear it, I know like Tracy King is gonna like screenshot this, and it's gonna be like, I'm never gonna have any other picture of me on the internet ever. Anyway, so that was one of the things I added. It was so easy to make. It took me like one night to go to Home Depot, get the paint, spray it. It only took like one good coat, let it dry, and the next day I was able to roll it and play with it. I did that several days before the concert because the paint was smelly. And so by the time we got to the concert, it was good. Okay, a couple other little extras that I threw in with the concert. I had this clip art, I think I got it for free, of stars. And so one of the things I did was I put 2 on a page, and I printed them off, so like basically 2 to a page like this. I printed them off, and I sent it out actually in an email to all the teachers and said, hey, we'd love to have student-colored things hanging up in the school for the concert. Here, if you have some downtime, actually we had a couple indoor recesses that week, have kids color or send them home or whatever, if you want. If not, no worries. But if you want to, here are these cool stars. And so kids really did a really cool job of coloring in, and then they cut out. They actually all came with these little bubbles, and some kids decided to cut those off. They didn't like that, I guess. But each one, giving them just the directive to say, like, it's going to go on stage or whatever, like, make it unique. They really did make theirs very, very unique. So that's sort of cool. I hung these in the lobby, so as parents walked in, they saw those. I also, like, taped them to the back of the risers, so as parents were waiting for kids to come in, they saw all the stars. It was just a little thing, but students colored them and students cut them out. So it like took no time for me to create, and it really added a lot of color and a lot of variety. It was super fun to have that. The other thing I did was I created this little sheet that said, I am an alien from the planet Mars, my name is, and then I have a little blank spot, and then it also said created by whoever. And I gave these out to teachers, and I said, hey, if you're, we're doing this space program in 2 weeks or a week or whatever, if your kids want to color them in, they get to create their very own space alien, which is so cool. And I'll hang them up right outside the gym for the concert. So kids got to do this, and they came up with their own. Some of them were very, very, very creative. They're just totally different, and they got to name them. This was Craxer EM. And this one is Nevo Fluffy. I feel like that is maybe like a character on some video game or something. I know this is from Pokemon, but whatever, Annie, you can do what you want. But I mean, some of them were just very, very creative and interesting and colorful, and kids had fun with them. I had one kid submit like 4, and I was like, Griffin, I do not have room for all of these. But it was just fun to add it in, and it was fun for parents to look at before or after the show. And it also spread the word, hey, remember, there's a concert coming up, so like, please have your kid here. If you want a copy of that, I'll send it to you. Just email me, makemomentsmatter@gmail.com. I'll send it to you. It was just super easy to send out to teachers and say, hey, if you want to color this in. Sort of nice. The other thing I did, I've shown this on Instagram before, but I've never really explained it too much. This is my countdown board, and I know the words are backward because of my phone, sorry. But it says, aliens are landing on the playground in blank days, 4th grade concert. So this is nice. I have, if you look sort of closely, these are sheet protectors. And so what I did was I printed off all these numbers and I just slide them in and out. So right now I have, just to show you, I actually have another one in here already. But the next day I would slide out the 5 and it would be 14. And the reason I did sheet protectors and not like just staple it up is because I reuse the numbers. And so to staple it every day was a real pain. You have to pull all the staples out. And so this was just easy to slide in and out. And as we got closer to the concert, it was very easy to get kids excited. And they'd be like, oh my gosh, 6 days. Yep, don't forget. There's always that one kid. But that was a really easy way to do that. The last thing I'll show you, and we're going to have to go on a little field trip for this one, but the last thing I'll show you is that I created a little photo op moment for parents and kiddos. And guys, I got really high tech. I bought a little tripod for my phone. I'll show you. I'm just like, so the problem is that like I really don't know how to work it. Videos, I was like propping it up on like a can of soup or something. Anyway, so I'm high tech now. Okay, so this I made, and it really is just a piece of foam core. I'll show you the back. It's a piece of foam core with a face shape cut out, and then I covered it in butcher paper, in blue butcher paper, and then I just cut out a little alien shape, and I made that part that says Raleigh Elementary, I survived space invasion, and then the night of the concert. And then these are, I'm pretty sure these are from Dollar Tree, because everything I have is from Dollar Tree, and yet again, pipe cleaners, really high tech. But this was so fun for parents and for students and even staff members. I saw my principal get in there, which was really cool. And it's just fun. It helped them document the night. I'll show you what it's actually standing on, like a speaker stand. There's an old derelict set of speakers that we don't use anymore because they don't really work. And we still had the speaker stand, so I rigged it up to that, which makes it pretty easy because when you come behind, there's really nothing in your way. I also put a little crate down there on the night of the concert so that a young person could get in. Oh, and again, I'm just so high tech. These are chopsticks because if you look on this side, his hand sort of comes off the board, which is fun. Anyway, that's my little photo op moment, and I actually put another said, it's a photo op, take a picture. Because some people would just like walk by it and they're like, oh, what's that? And I was like, take your picture. So I put a little sign that said, photo op, take a picture with Czar, the friendly space alien or whatever. It was just one little extra thing to throw in to put out in the hallway, but parents liked it. It was just a fun moment for them to get to do that. If you have any questions, we talked today about the story behind the concert, about the music that I chose and how I chose it. I talked a little bit about writing my script, and then the costumes I used and all the extras. If you want to hear more about those, I actually think I wrote a blog post the very first time I did this concert, which I could put a link in the comments. Or if you want to like see the script or get a copy of the alien picture or something else, just shoot me an email. It's makemomentsmatter@gmail.com. I'll send you whatever I can that's not like copyrighted. Like I can't send you, let's pass it on. But I can send you some other stuff and just let you know more about it. Or put a question in the comments. I'm happy to answer those. I'm going to post this video on my page, so it'll be accessible anytime. But I'm happy to answer those questions whenever I can. So before I go, if you like this video, there are other videos in the feed. I don't know where they are, but in the Facebook video feed, there are other live videos where I've talked about other concerts or how I do recorder stations or my instrument centers, or not centers, but instrument family introduction stuff. There are more videos. Go check those out. I also blog, and I have an email list if you want to jump on the email list where I send out information, things about stuff I've done. But I also just started a podcast, which is super fun. I talked about that at the beginning of the video, but if you search in the iTunes store or on Stitcher or SoundCloud, Make Moments Matter, a music education podcast, or even just part of that name, it'll pop up and you can listen. I talk mostly about songs that I use and how I teach them and things like that. If you'd like to learn more, go check it out. See, you might find a song or a game or something that you really like. Thanks so much for listening. Like I said, if you have questions, leave them in the comments. I hope to see you next time. Thanks so much.